In life, we all have to deal with love, loss, and transformation. There's a book to help you through the journey. Stacey Siwek Sassine is here to talk about her mother's best-selling children's book, Caterpillars Can't Talk, a story about love, loss, and transformation. And you can learn more about that right now because you have Stacey joining us. Stacey, I love not just that this book is about transformation and a journey, but this book itself has a journey. It was published 40 years after it was written and 30 years after your mom passed. Tell me what this experience as her daughter has been like, making her dream come to life and also passing on this journey to others.
Yes, thank you. It has been a long journey, spanning over 4 decades. How it started is my father's best friend actually was tragically killed in an accident and left behind a 6-year-old little boy who my mom cared for very deeply. And she wrote this book for him to help him understand what happened to his dad and have some of the questions answered that children often don't have the language or the experience to express. And she wrote the book. The book was actually never published. She tried a few times to get the book published. She got a bunch of rejection letters. It's not easy. And unfortunately, she gave up on that dream and kind of put the book in a drawer. This is what the original one looked like. And, you know, 10 years after she wrote that book, she herself passed away at the young age of 42. I was just 16. My brother was 19. So we were ourselves dealing with the same loss that she had written about in this book. And the book became my own personal guidebook to deal with my mom's death. And I struggled with it a lot throughout the years of trying to assign purpose to that grief. And, you know, everybody always tells you everything happens for a reason, but when you're a child that loses a parent, it's hard to understand what that reason might be. And so I struggled throughout the years. You know, fast forward, I'm 40 something, I'm still struggling with assigning purpose to that grief. And I remember I have this book, this beautiful gift that my mother left behind to help heal a broken heart. And I just had this idea that maybe I could still get it published for her in her honor. And I had run into a friend that I went to high school with and found out in catching up, she owns a publishing company. And we started talking about the project and she was interested and she helped me bring it to life.
And then bringing it to life for some of our community members out there that, you know, desire to purchase your book, what can they learn about love, loss, and transformation? What are some big takeaways that they can learn from your book?
Yeah, I think, you know, the discussion that takes place in the book is really around knowing that the person that you love and that you lost is never gone. They've just maybe, they're with us in our heart. And so it follows the transformation of a caterpillar to a butterfly and teaches us that the ones we love are still around and they're still with us and they never leave.
What is the hardest lesson or the hardest part that you learned about yourself in reading this book? Because I'm sure sometimes, I mean, you had your mom, and I'm sure she shared some of this writing with you, but after, you know, she passed and you opened those pages, was there something you learned, you said, okay, I get it now?
I think, you know, the concept of transformation has just been ingrained in me now from the book, is that you can always be transforming yourself. Not even through death, but through life. And in the process of writing and publishing this book, I actually started up a nonprofit to help other children who are dealing with the loss of a parent. So I think that the key really is just always be looking to transform yourself. Doesn't have to take a death experience to do that.
What is something, I know there's a lot of change happening now in our community, and you talked about love in this book. What is something you would want to share with everyone right now about the topic of love, not just with someone you may know personally, but just with each other, with strangers, with someone you meet on the street, with coworkers? What is a message of love that you would want to pass on to everyone right now?
I think that's a great question. I think, you know, in this book, the little boy meets a talking caterpillar, and they have a conversation about their feelings. And I think that that's so important right now, is that we have to not be afraid to talk to each other about how we're feeling. And I think the book really illustrates that well.
Thank you. And you can learn more about Caterpillars Can't Talk at caterpillarscan'ttalk.com. Stacey, thank you so much for sharing part of your mother with us and sharing part of your journey with us as well. And if you want to learn about love, loss, and transformation, we'll have more on that on wave3.com.